Cross-checking information through corroboration. Human rights organizations that are engaged in fact-finding are often faced with unreliable or politically motivated informants. There may even be the problem of insufficient evidence concerning the matter that they are investigating. In such situations, information is sifted by looking for common patterns and corroborative data to support the findings. Corroboration helps in cross checking information and ensuring its reliability. For example, when interviewing refugees, the interviewer may not be able to visit the refugee's country of origin to verify the information that is gathered. In such cases, information may have to be gathered from more refugees from the same geographical area so as to corroborate the information provided. Information can be corroborated through on-site visits and checking for physical evidence and circumstantial evidence. On-site visits and checking for physical evidence helps in corroborating information collected from witnesses. Other evidence, such as documents, could be collected to substantiate the information collected from witnesses. Circumstantial evidence is that which is related to the circumstances of the case. In other words, it refers to evidence from which inferences can be drawn about a particular fact by establishing surrounding circumstances and limiting other possibilities. For example, in a case where a person was found to have disappeared in the morning, the fact that the person was seen in the police custody in the evening before is circumstantial evidence that strongly indicates the possibility of police involvement in the disappearance. Another example is when a killing happens in a public space during curfew hours, when no other person other than security personnel could be present. In such case, a strong inference can be drawn that security personnel could be involved in such killing. Click the link to access the fact-finding report on Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. Your task is to review the report and identify the following: objectives of the fact-finding mission, the sources of information, and limitations of the fact-finding, if any. So did you note that the objectives of the fact-finding mission is described in section 1.2.1? The objective includes assessing the humanitarian situation in the refugee camp and the measures taken to address the situation by various actors. Section 1.2.2 titled Methodology lists the sources of information. Note that the fact-finding team interviewed people living in the refugee camps to collect information about their experience and living conditions. The fact-finding team also interviewed the service providers. One of the findings of the team was that there was gaps between what the service providers had committed to provide and that which was being received by the refugees. Identifying such gaps are important in human rights monitoring. These gaps could be identified as the team had collected information about the same issues from two different sources of information. Note that in section 1.2.2.1, the report mentions the number of people who were interviewed and the fact that the information collected may not be exhaustive. This is important as it openly acknowledges the limitations of the fact-finding process. Also note that in the last paragraph of section 1.2.2, it is stated that at the end of each day, the team had a debriefing session during which the information collected was shared. This is important. By such sharing, the team can assess the nature of information that has been collected and can take a call on whether additional sources of information need to be explored or whether some information needs further corroboration, etc. We will come back to this report in the lesson on interviewing. We have reached the end of this lesson. You should now be able to identify sources of information, analyze level of proof, and cross-check information through corroboration.